Cathar Love, number 38. Gnosticism, modern day Catharism, the celebratory philosophy. Religions can hardly be called celebratory. As various philosophers have pointed out to us over the ages, that between our culture, our religions, even Mao, not everyone's cup of tea, but he certainly wasn't stupid, and he had some very wise words, and certainly he said religion is the opium of the people. In other words, religion puts people to sleep. When I say asleep, it's when we're asleep, we're at the mercy of our dreams. We're hardly thinking for ourselves. It's nice to have a couple of great dreams, of course. But Gnosticism is about waking up. And one of the things from the Gnostic point of view is to wake up to the celebration of life. There are plenty of people in plenty of areas that would seem to have little to celebrate. There was a TV documentary where this English journalist explored these particular slums in Mumbai, maybe some other large Indian city. But what he found there was people celebrated life. He said there's more celebration here than there is in an English village, where people are very well off. So celebrating life is not really whether you're wealthy or poor. It's more than anything else, I suppose, an attitude. Unfortunately, a lot of our attitudes are based upon our beliefs. And this is why I feel, look, we have no control of where we're born, whom we're born to, what country we're born to. Then for nothing, not for nothing, they call it an accident of birth. This applies to all of us. I was born a Catholic. I'm certainly not a Catholic now. In fact, I don't have much time for Catholicism at all. Not for Catholics. I have friends, family, various people who are Catholics. I delight in their company, I delight in their conversation, and we have our little discussions. But I have no time for Catholic authorities, starting from the Pope downwards, because they are subservient. The priest is subservient to the bishop is subservient to the cardinal is subservient to the Pope. It's a feudal system, and they have to do what they're told. They cannot think for themselves. They cannot do what they think is best. They are caught within this particular situation. Now, there are many Catholic clergy who buck against this. They want to think for themselves. They know this is correct. They don't want to go necessarily with their bishop's point of view, but they have to, otherwise it's our way or the highway. And this applies to other religions as well. So, but Gnosticism is about, it's freedom. It's freedom to think for yourself. There's a couple of basic precepts which we've talked about, and in Sydney there was an archbishop, and he says that this cult of individualization, the cult of the individual, it's pulling us apart. Now, I certainly wouldn't disagree for a minute that there are plenty of people who are only interested in themselves, only interested in their own point of view, people who are basically selfish. A lot of these people they're I suppose they're products of our society at the moment. They're people who are unhappy, fearful, scared, worried, and many have to find refuge if they can't, because they're not finding it within their group and within their family, within their religion. They're taking to alcohol, to drugs, to put themselves in another world, another less painful world. Unfortunately, as we see, it's not really the way to go, because the destination is, for most people, is not a good one. So Gnosticism, or modern day Catharism, is an alternative, but it's a celebratory alternative. It's an individual, each of us are on an individual journey, but we are very, very conscious of the other people who are in it. We're very conscious of the unity, the oneness of the universe, which includes all of us. And this is hardly a selfish point of view. We're regarding the oneness of nature, how we're inseparable from nature, how we are responsible for nature, how we are responsible for the animals and the plants and the flora and fauna of the planet. So it's not that we don't take life seriously, but life is a cause for celebration, and especially the very fact that I'm talking to you means that you have access to a cell phone, to a computer, or whatever it is. So we're not exactly out in the middle of a desert starving or missing out. We're within this particular group. Now, as someone once explained, we do what we can to help those who are not as fortunate as ourselves. But if you're living in America, the United States, or in Brazil, or Australia, or Germany, or Norway, you are meant to play out your life in that area, provided you don't up stakes and go somewhere else. But your karma, your life's journey is caught up in that particular situation. So we do what we can, when we can, to help those less fortunate. But we don't have to think, oh, we should, because that person's starving in that particular area, we don't have to feel guilty about that. We do what we can when we can. As I said in the previous video, there'll always be strife, there'll always be drama, there'll always be conflict, there'll always be those going without, there'll always be those who at that point in some area going through terror. With all this, we need to find harmony within ourselves, peace of mind, tranquility of soul within ourselves. This is the art of living. We have a negative situation, we try and take the positive aspects from that situation and use it to our own benefit if we can. We have the gift of life, and with that gift of life, it's there to be celebrated. Now, again, various religions control. You can't eat this, you can't do that. You have the commandments, you have various things you can do, food you can eat, food you can't eat. The Gnostic has no problems with this. He can walk into any restaurant, anywhere, anytime, and he can say, I'll have whatever's on the menu, thank you, provided he enjoys the taste. Now, there are also Gnostics who, for their own reasons, wish to be vegetarians. They don't believe in killing animals and so forth. That's fine. That's their belief. We're all going to die, and so we can't avoid that animal dying. What we can avoid is that the quality of that animal's death. But Gnosticism it's about basically enjoying life when we can and gaining a quality of life. Not only that, it's very hard to enjoy a quality of life if you're not looking forward to a quality of death. So, from a Gnostic point of view, because we believe in reincarnation, in lifetime after lifetime, in eventually perfecting ourselves theoretically in this lifetime and the next, death is to be celebrated. It's not something, a disease to shy away from. You're going to die, but it's a portal to another world. So even religions have this particular thing, but of course they've got this particular situation that if your life wasn't a good life, or you did some naughty things in your life, you could have a punishment, and if you've been very naughty, you can be punished for eternity. Well, this doesn't come into the Gnostic world at all. We go to the world of spirit, and over there we know what we did and didn't do. We know what we should do to repair that, or to modify it, or change things in the next lifetime. So therefore, we don't have that fear of damnation or lack of salvation. So life, the gift of life, the gift of existence, more importantly, because it's never ending, this is to be celebrated. I mean, if you believe, and I believe I know for myself, that I am immortal. This body will die, but my consciousness, which is the eyes of my soul or my divine spark, this consciousness, it just goes on and on and on, literally forever. Most religions even believe in eternity. So dying is certainly not the end. With Gnosticism, after R&R, rest and recuperation in the world of spirit, you move on to your next lifetime. Now, religions have different versions to this, but from the Gnostic point of view, there's nothing to be downhearted about. It's all to do with celebration. Most religions rely upon ancient written records going back hundreds of years, sometimes thousands of years. They went back long before books existed. That an oral tradition, now with that, mistakes can be made. Then it was written down by scribes. This scribe copied it from that scribe. There could also be additions. Someone's put that in, interpolations, mistakes, and those things can make quite a large difference. I'm reminded of that German professor who was an archaeologist, or anyway, he came upon 20 very ancient Qurans hidden behind a wall. He took them back to Germany, and I believe there's something to do about the various authorities, various people are claiming these. But those Qurans go so far back that in the Arabic script there's no vowels on the top. Now, I'm no scholar in that direction, but evidently where you place those little dots, those vowels, can make a very big difference to what is written down. And as he pointed out, that depends where you place the vowels on these particular words, means that if you die, you die a martyr, you will go to the world the world of spirit or paradise, and there will be an oasis waiting for you with fresh water and grapes and everything that is an oasis in paradise. If those vowels are placed here on the word, you will get, when you die a martyr, you'll get 74 virgins as a reward. So I'm not saying which is right, I'm not saying which is wrong. All I'm saying is that even in the Arabic script, that where you place the vowels made a big difference. If you look at ancient Chinese writings, they had no commas, they had no full stops. The writing just went on and on and on and on, and you had to know from your knowledge where there would be a full stop or the end of a sentence. So therefore, a lot of ancient writings, Chinese writings, are not so easy or not so open to specific interpretation. The Bible, what's happened with that, and it's written by various people and handed down, there could also be mistakes in this. So, actually, there was this young monk, and he just joined this monastery, but he was there as he was to be there and trained as a scribe, and he was copying out the manuscripts, and the thought came to him, you know, what if there was a mistake, what we're copying down? Would the mistake just be carried on? Are we absolutely certain what we're writing down is correct? So he's discussing this with the chief abbot, the chief scribe in that monastery, and he the scribe, the monk, he was thinking about that, and he said, look, I'm just going to go down and double check what we are writing. And he said, I'll be back in half an hour or so. It was hours before he came back. And when he came back, he was really upset. And the young scribe said, what's the problem? He said, I went over the ancient writings. He said, I went over the ancient writings, and it was to do with how we conduct ourselves, how we conduct our life. And the young monk said, yeah, well, that's right. And he said, I just went over, he said, I've realised we've made a terrible mistake. And he said, well, what's that? He said, instead of celibate, it should be celebrate. Okay, it's a joke, but there's not such a great difference in writing between celibate and celebrate. But I'll tell you what, if you're celibate, from my point of view, that's not a lot to celebrate. So it's just to point out that a small mistake can make a vast deal of difference to the way the following generations conduct their lives. So I believe that our gift of life, our gift of existence, is eternal. We are individually immortal. We have nothing to fear, really. We have nothing really to worry about. Obviously, if we have our health, we have our minds, and we try and obtain a quality of life, but it's also important to try and obtain a quality of death. And to the Gnostic, death is as much a celebration as is living, because it's taking you to a better world, the world of spirit, where your real family are, which often this family and your friends are part of that, and there you will go on to another lifetime, and after that another lifetime, and each one you are perfecting yourself. You are on your own individual journey, which makes your journey different to my journey. But if we can celebrate our journeys, believe me, I feel that this is the better way to go. On that celebratory note, I will talk to you another time. Bye for now.